Russell. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Russell and I met through the ex Jehovah's Witness Facebook page, and we had a couple calls together and got to know his story even on a deeper level. And he said, "You know what? I think I want to share my story on your channel." So here we are, which I'm super excited about. And I love. I just have to say this because after you and I had that call together, where I worked with you as a client, you prayed for us at the end, and I thought that was so sweet. And you thanked Jehovah that you and I had connected because it's really difficult to talk to a therapist and explain the whole Jehovah's Witness lingo. And I so appreciated that. And yeah, it was really special for me. So I wanted to say that before we even get started. Um, so Russell, again, thank you so much for coming on my channel. And you've only been out of the organization for a couple of months, and you're already sharing your story, which is
Okay.
so brave of you to be on here sharing
hmm
your story. So we'll just go into it. How did the Jehovah's Witnesses come into your life, and then your story as a Jehovah's Witness?
you're right. As my family was from Nicaragua, and they had like missionaries over there, and they contacted one of my aunts or uncles, and they started studying, and they brought it back to the family, saying, "Oh, I found the truth, and come to the Kingdom Hall and get a Bible study, and get everlasting life, and paradise khakis, a fruit bowl, and a pet panda bear, and sign up for that." And so my grandmother at the oh I do need to give a shout out to Surviving Paradise. I got that from the host of that YouTube show, Stacy Valman. He says that all the time. I just decided to say it because I think it's so funny, because that's what they're promising in the illustrations and all that stuff. So yeah, so she was too busy for religion, because it's for a single mother, three kids, she's always working, and she didn't want to rely on anybody. So fast forward, Nicaragua, she went to Miami, Florida, because her brother was there, her sponsored her, and she brought her three kids, and he also was studying, and so he would take my mother and her two other siblings to the meetings all of the time, almost every week. But then I feel like throwing in this little funny tidbit. So my grandmother wound up moving to New Jersey because she was dating this Brazilian guy, and she almost fell in love with him. And so he said, "Oh, come to New Jersey with me." Apparently, he used to sell VCRs back when VCRs were the big thing. And it turns out Vivian.
Mhm.
Oh, oh, okay. I saw your head nod. Okay. Yeah, so it turns out the FBI was looking for him because he was doing like some illegal stuff. So she stayed in New Jersey. Um, and then my great grandmother used to visit New Jersey from time to time, and she would want to go to the Kingdom Hall. And she convinced my great grandmother convinced a lot of people to go into the religion. The funny thing, though, is she never became a Jehovah's Witness. She liked to smoke, and she cursed like a pirate, and I heard she was hilarious. She was my great grandma Esther. So they took her to meetings during the summertime, but then when she stopped coming and she eventually passed away, they just decided, like, we're going to stick with it. And a sister from that Kingdom Hall quickly said, "Hi, do you girls have a Bible study?" And they said no, and so she hopped on that right away, just so that she could, get more Bible studies. And then, yeah, and then fast forward, my mom took the religion very seriously, became a pioneer, and she was all about she's all about the organization. Meets my dad. They have a courtship. They get married. Oh, funny thing. My dad, he's no longer alive, but he struggled with being a player. So he was he was a Jehovah's Witness, but I'm actually one of three. I have like three other siblings from Different women. I what's it? I met one of my brothers recently. He came up from Texas to visit other family, but we had dinner before he, had other things to do. Um, yeah, and then and yeah, so my mother, so he, unfortunately, my father was very similar to your husband. I remember you saying that our ex-husband, he's very controlling, and you can't leave the house, and you can't do this, and you can't do that, and he used to tell her like, "Oh, you're my precious little treasure," and he used to like lock her away as though she's like, I don't know, like a princess in like a tower or something like that, and needless to say, that did not end well. I don't know if she cheated on him or not. I kind of hope she did. My dad was being a dickhead. So it got to the point where there was some domestic violence. So she she immediately got a divorce. And but because it was unscriptural and and she was not repentant, they disfellowshipped her for that. They disfellowshipped him too. And so then, yeah, that's how I mean, long-winded as it was, I hope that that answers the first question. That's how the witnesses came into my life. Then my mother, gave birth to me, and she started reading, my book Bible stories to me, taking me to meetings. So apparently, I was going to meetings ever since I was, you know, uh, uh, in I ever since yeah, I mean, from my mother's belly till now, like that's how long I've been in the witnesses. But thankfully it's been you know like a couple of months now where like I'm out. uh,
If you wanted to share
and the second part,
yeah, go ahead.
huh? Oh,
No,
but
I
so I
said,
answered your first question. What was
yeah,
the second?
your story as a Jehovah's Witness, because I know, like I said in the beginning, you've only been out for just a couple months. So if you can just share your story as a witness. So you grew up as a witness, and yeah,
Yes.
I know that you were disfellowshipped twice, if I'm not mistaken. If you wanted to just talk about
Yes.
that and where you are now with the relationship with your mom.
Sure, sure. Uh, so very, very similar to you. I was traveling down to Florida helping my aunt. She was dying of like stage 4 cancer, and so oh boy, so I was helping there. I was grieving, and part of my grieving process is I don't shave because most people I know when you're grieving, you're not concerned about shaving. So the elders gave me a lot of crap for that. I said no, I'm going to keep my beard, and fast forward, I was yeah, I bumped into somebody while I was shopping, and we hit it off, and we had sex, um, and it didn't last long. It was, it was like a 2 night fling, and it was fun. And I did keep it quiet for about a year. Uh, but I'm sure you remember that going to meetings. One of the things that they constantly talk about is, oh, if you've committed a sin, please talk to the elders. Don't worry, they're so loving and they're so kind and they're gonna heal you and whatever. And that's just a setup. That's just a setup to get someone disfellowship because they have to keep the congregation clean. And and you know and oh wow. And no, this just came to me. So I mean, I wasn't repentant because I didn't think I did anything wrong. I don't think I did anything wrong. I mean, it was an act between two consenting adults, and that that was it. And so with them constantly saying, do confess your sins, confess your sins, confess your sins. I thought that just like you, just being honest with them, that they would kind of, see my honesty and just let me off the hook. But nope. Um, I was honest. I said, hey, I had sex and I'm not sorry about it. So they disfellowshipped me. like a couple of months before the whole world shut down in 2020. Yeah. Uh, and yeah, and I kind of wish that I would. No, no. So what what was in my mind was that I thought the entire process was just total bullshit, but for some reason I couldn't let it go. Like I literally thought in my head as a believing Jehovah's Witness, this is such nonsense. Why am I putting myself through this? But I did. I put myself through, waiting and being on Zoom meetings, and I submitted a couple of letters, and they spoke with me a few times, I'm glad that's over. I'm never doing that again. Uh,
Okay, I'm gonna backtrack a little bit because I know that you said your mom and dad were disfellowshipped at one point, and then when you were young, what did your dad ever come back into the religion before he passed? And how long ago did he pass?
oh, so he's been dead 9 years. He tried to make it back into the religion, but simply put, he was too good with the ladies, and so he picked his girlfriends over the religion, and I mean, and unfortunately, my father. I mean, I know that I knew that it ate him up inside, but at the same time, I'm kind of like I kind of wish that he could see that he was free. He was free to live his life and be Christian, and he could do just do things his way. You don't have to do things like Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah, so when he died 9 years ago, were your parents still married?
Oh, my no, no, no. So they were divorced. They divorced shortly after they conceived me. But my mother did remarry, and I did have a stepfather. And so this I just realized this like a couple of days ago. Like I used to complain and moan like, "Oh, mom, why did you, marry an unbeliever, and why did you, have a step family religiously divided household?" And as sloppy and messy as it all was, I'm actually so thankful. I'm so grateful that I um got to live in that kind of environment, because you're always exposed to like different viewpoints. And little did I know that those viewpoints, I mean, I like to think I like to just sometimes just zone out and think about things. And hearing an atheist perspective, hearing a Catholic perspective, hearing all these different perspectives, and I started saying, well, hey, wait, they have a few points there. Like they have a point, they have a point, and they have a point. But the Jehovah's Witnesses just kept saying that, no, we have the truth, we have all the truth in the world. And I mean, at first I thought that too, like, yeah, Jehovah's Witnesses have all of the truth, you know. But thankfully, I went through a spiritual crisis, and that spiritual crisis just right with the disfellowshipping that really woke me up. And
Okay.
and then all those different perspectives. Huh?
No, I'm like, I get it.
Yeah. Oh wait, I'm sorry. I went on a tangent. What was the question again? Did I answer it? Or...
You did a great job answering it. So going back to what you were talking about before, so you got disfellowship like the beginning of the pandemic. You were what, 23 years old? Because I think you're 26 now. So you were 23 years old, you got disfellowshipped, and then you came back to the religion, obviously, for reasons that we all know. Probably you miss your friends, you wanted to be close to your mom again. What happened after you got disfellowshipped?
Um, let's see here. What happened? Like when you say what happened, like you
So
mean like
I
how did
know
my family react to it? Or
yeah, so I know you were talking about why you got disfellowship. So what was like, because I know you got back into the religion. So I guess you can talk about the transition from getting disfellowshipped to then getting reinstated, and what was your life like between that time?
yeah, so oh my journey back uh it it was it was rough to say the least, but at the same time, like I'm so grateful. Like I feel that that experience, gave me a um and also I'm a second time because the first time like I was just distraught, feeling sorry for myself. Second, I
You were saying you felt distraught and sorry for yourself, and then you can continue on from there.
okay. So the first time I got disfellowshipped, I felt, distraught and sorry for myself, and what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? I'm not spiritual enough. But the second time, I started doing research. Like I just typed into YouTube disfellowshipping and depression, and I don't know if you're familiar with Lloyd Evans. His video popped up, and I yeah, what's it I don't know if I should give a shout out to Lloyd Evans because of the controversy, but I'll just say that before the whole controversy, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but that's neither here nor there, for this discussion. Um, so he was talking about his experience about getting disfellowshipped, and I just went down this whole XJW rabbit hole, and I got to tell you, every time I clicked on a video, like I literally thought that I literally thought that I was gonna drop dead. Like I thought God was gonna be like, "You're looking at apostate material," so I don't know, like a lightning bolt was gonna come and hit me or something like that. And my body was just like, "Oh my God, what am I doing? This is insane." And yeah, and I mean that feeling has stopped. So it got to the point where I was watching an XJW video almost every single day from like different channels. Um and so yeah, so while I was going to meetings on Zoom because it was a lockdown, I was also doing my research, and and so after yeah, we're 2023, like wow, so I've been watching XJW videos for like almost 3 years now, and yeah, and so I kept quiet, of course, and I still wanted to get reinstated, but now it wasn't because I'm like, oh, there's something wrong with me and I want to get back into the truth. It was more just to make my mother happy because I know my mother was very distraught when I got disfellowship twice, and so I just decided, why don't I just go through the process, um, make her happy. No, 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 no. No. So my whole idea was that I was gonna be like this double agent, and so I was gonna be like, do like a fully believing Jehovah's Witness in the Kingdom Hall, but outside I was gonna be like, this great apostate, but I was gonna keep health. I had to realize that as a bipolar person, simply put, I can't do that. It's too much for my emotional mental health. And so once I discovered that I just don't have the chops for that, and there's nothing wrong with that. Some people can do that, God bless them, but I just can't. Yeah.
And
So
yeah,
then I went from Pomo, no, no, from Pomi. Huh?
continue. I'm
Right,
listening.
right, right. So let me see here. Right. So oh, right. Okay. Oh, I went from Pomi, physically out, mentally in, to um to just Pomo. I just left. There was again, it wasn't a decision that I rushed to. I had to think about it. I had to pray about it. And then I just decided to text my mother because she was vacationing somewhere. I just texted her, I don't want to be a witness anymore. And if you'd like to talk about it more, I'm more than happy to talk about it. But yeah, I no no I so I wanted to share this with you. So going by the organization's, terminology, with their whole new light thing, I don't know if you heard about the recent new light, but they don't have to give in time slips anymore.
Yeah.
And yeah, and also apparently, and so this one shocked me. So apparently, right, with the whole Great Tribulation thing, like they thought that's when everyone would be sealed off, and you're either a sheep or a goat. But now apparently you can wait till like the last second and say, "I'm a Jehovah's Witness and I believe," and you can get it into paradise. So I'm like, "Hey, that sounds great! Sign me up for that." um and just the last new light that I want to comment on, because this is just another reason why I'm so glad that I left, because it got to the point where I couldn't stomach it anymore. But they said that the governing body doesn't have to apologize for any wrong interpretation that they've done. And I just thought, how pompous, how isn't it Christian to apologize to say, hey, we got it wrong. We're sorry. We're going to make it up to you and we're going to this and that. But so apparently they don't have to do the Christian thing, which is to apologize for their, you know, bonkers teachings. So no, I thought that was ridiculous. Um, but right, but getting to my point, so I personally felt that I personally felt that Jehovah, or the source of all things, he wanted me. I believe that he led me out of the Jehovah's Witnesses. And I think he led a lot of the XJW witnesses. I mean, whether they believe or not, I believe that Jehovah has called us out of the organization, out of false religion, out of Babylon the Great. Because I don't know if you know this, but they were uh, a a non-GMO for the United Nations for like almost 10 years. And so they've yeah, so they were a part of this disgusting thing. And I don't know if you remember the Revelation book, but they just went on and on about the UN, but they're a part of the UN. So I'm just right now, I mean, I'm still recovering. I have to realize that, I went through a lot of trauma. I went through a lot of I said yes to a lot of things that I either didn't fully understand, or that well, I was a fully believing Jehovah's Witness. I did have doubts though, but I was told don't focus on them. But now I feel so free. I'm healing. I feel closer to Jehovah. I feel closer to people in general, because I'm no longer as judgmental as the witnesses are. And I mean I don't want to demonize any of them, but unfortunately they're cultivated to be very judgmental towards towards everyone. They're judgmental towards people on the outside, people on the inside. You show up to the Kingdom Hall with the beard. They're like, "Whoa, brother, what's going on there?" Like, what do you mean? Oh, your beard. I'm like, yeah, I didn't want to shave. And men grow beards. I don't know what else to tell you.
I so resonated with you when you said that the ex-Jehovah's Witness community, God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, the divine, has chosen us to no longer be in the organization anymore. I mean, I definitely have thought about that so many times, especially because I was trying to get back into the religion for 2 years, wrote 4 letters, and they were all rejected. And I was definitely doing everything right in the JWI. So I'm like, yeah, I was definitely not meant to get back into the religion. I'm super grateful of my life right now and where it's at. Going back to your story, if you want to talk about what your mom said when you said that you didn't want to be a witness anymore, because I know that's very recent. What was that like for you, and what did she say?
Sure. So, my mind, before I said anything, like my mind went to an extreme place. Like I thought, there's going to be, she's going to be angry and, crying and screaming and hysteria. And what do you mean? This is the greatest, way of life. And how are you going to get everlasting life? And what about Armageddon? That's dangerous. And so I really have to give my mother credit. Like relationship with my mother has never been better. And I mean, if we get into that, we could get into that, but I'll just get into her reaction. So she was actually very level-headed, and she was just telling me, be careful. That's dangerous. I love you. I don't want to lose you as a brother, a friend, a son. And she was sending me uh, inspirational Bible quotes and sending me daily texts. And I just I don't understand, like, where do the witnesses get this idea of if someone doesn't agree with them, like they just shove more literature in their face. Well, look at this. We'll look at that. We'll look at this. We'll look at that. Like, no, no, I don't want to. I don't agree. I don't agree. So I really have to give a shout out to my mother. She's taking this very well. She hasn't kicked me out. Uh, she's not insisting that I go to meeting or that I participate in field service. But I do have to say this though, that I am willing to make an exception. My brother is actually getting baptized November 5th at a whatever it's called. Uh, and I will make an exception, and I will go there to see his baptism. And I don't mind doing that.
Okay, that's nice of you. Uh, Thank you so much for sharing all your story. And one last thing, when was it that you told your mom that you no longer wanted to be a witness? That was very recently, wasn't it? How long ago was that?
Yeah, yeah. Give me a second. I'm going to just minimize the screen. Hopefully, it doesn't affect anything. I'm going to go straight to my messages, and I'm going to let you know. Go away, bees in my face. Let me see here. Drugs. Okay. Uh, Rehab. Oh, here. Okay. So according to my phone, on August 27th, 6:31 p.m., I I just wrote my mother, I don't want to be a witness anymore.
For you. So that was 2 months ago. Um, and how has your life
All
changed since those two
right.
months? How has your life changed in those 2 months?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. What's it? I always like that. I think I'm due for I think I'm due for a trim. Some of my mustache is getting into my mouth. Um, but hey, that's just hashtag big beard problem. So that's like a problem I don't mind having. So my life is way better. I'm so much more grateful. I feel like I'm detoxing. Like I'm detoxing from all of that. I'm detoxing from all the nonsense that they teach you in the religion. Well, oh, what's it? My one of my best friends took me out to eat for my birthday, and that was awesome. He too is in ex witness. He was just briefly about him. So I met him while I was temping. Found out that he was raised Jehovah's Witness. But he never took to it. He left when he was 18. So he and I really hit it off then. We've been friends ever since 2016. So that was awesome. And uh how to say this. Oh boy. All right, I'm just gonna come on and say it. Yesterday I went to I went to a sex party, had some fun, and didn't feel any guilt about it. I just had a great time, and then I went back home, and I'm like, I'm not gonna say anything. Well, I told you now, and so I had a blast last night, and but his thing. Without any guilt. I have no guilt whatsoever. Like, oh my God, Jehovah, please. Like, no, no. Done. Over. So,
Good for
life is
you.
great.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you for sharing and not holding on to that due to some shame that you're still holding on to from the religion. So I'm really proud of you for sharing that. It takes a lot of courage. So thank you so much for talking about that, Russell. This interview has been great. Is there anything that you feel like you missed out that you want to share? Also, I want to say sorry so much about the bad reception. The internet here in Costa Rica is not the best. I'm going to try my best to glue all of the pieces together, and hopefully we'll come up with a good interview at the end. So my question is then, is there anything that you feel like you missed out on this interview? And if you want to share that right now, that would be great.
Um, yeah, sure. Um, hmm, missed out. Like when you say missed out on, do you mean like if you could just
Now,
give me
yeah, so if you feel like you wanted to add anything
oh,
to this interview, feel free to add to that right now if you want to add anything.
oh,
Here we go again.
there you are.
So if you feel like you missed out,
And
or if you want to add anything to this interview that you feel like you wanted to talk about, this is your time to do that.
sure. I would well, first of all, I would love to to thank you again for helping this interview to happen. I know that it's been a very wonky journey, but hey, I mean, uh, 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 a wonky journey is an exciting journey. You know, we have tons to say, and oh, it froze and this. First and foremost, I would like to see please subscribe to Vivian. Please subscribe to me also. My channel is called Russell C. I have a few interviews on there. Um, so yeah, I wanted to say that, but I also wanted to say um, to the witnesses that are POMI that are still in the organization that still have doubts that still they feel that something isn't right. You're right. You're correct. Trust yourself. You are correct. I believe that, as I've said before, that Jehovah is drawing them out of the organization, and he wants to bring them towards freedom, and he wants to. I mean, unfortunately, you have to enjoy this without Jehovah's Witnesses, but there's just so much to life. There's so much, to do in life, and it's not all about, reading the Bible and going to meetings and just all this monotonous crap. that we had to do day in and day out. I mean, if you want to, you know, pick up a hobby. I mean, if you want to date, you want to play sports, you want to do things that normal people do, go for it, do it. So I guess that's my final message to our audience and to those listening. And you better believe that tons of I believe that most of the audience for XJWs are actually believing Jehovah's Witnesses. I believe that that's a huge percentage of the audience that tunes into videos like this. And I just want to say that I love you. I know that you're suffering, and trust yourself.
Fantastic, Russell. Thank you again.